Hello everyone, and welcome to another Pathfinder adventure card game scenario. We are on scenario 5.6, the final adventure for level 5, with the character Drelm over at the Skypharaoh's throne, where at this location, the difficulty of your checks against the Banes that have the mummy trait is increased by 4, and after you are dealt a damage that is not reduced, bury one random card from your discard pile. Okay, so a lot going on there. I also want to mention that at the end of last adventure, we gained this loot item thanks to defeating this previous villain, and we were able to trade that to a trader instead to get the to keep our serpent armband or whatever that loot treasure is. So just a quick update on the deck check for Drelm. All right, let's go ahead and advance the blessings deck. It's a blessed of Matt. And exploring, we get the Earth Oscumental, which is actually a undead creature. So it's not a mummy. So we did not examine this card. So this creature is immune to the mental and poison traits. Before you act, each character at your location must succeed a dexterity or acrobatics 13 check, or that character is dealt 1d4 acid damage. Well, that really sucks because Drelm's dexterity is only d6. We do have this Sands of Time spell, which we're going to cast. It says display this card next to your location. While displayed, add 1 die to checks by characters at this location to defeat Banes that have the construct or undead trait. Okay, so it's only checks to defeat. But we're still going to play it anyway. I thought maybe that would help out with my d6 dexterity. But as it is, we auto-fail that effect, and now we're going to take 1d4 damage. Wow, that really sucks. Okay, and we took 4 points of damage. So that means that everything, and I mean everything in our hand, is destroyed as damage. And not only that, so we took that damage, we weren't able to reduce it, so we have to bury a random card. Plus, now we still have to go ahead and do this check to defeat. So Drelm is just going to be a D10 melee check. He doesn't have any cards in his hand, so 8 plus his buff, so 6. So 14. Oh, you know what? Even though it's a check to defeat, we'll keep that 8 because we got the Sands of Time. We're still doing a check to defeat. Okay, so get a load of this. So thanks to Sands of Time, even though we failed, even though we took the 4 points of damage, and we totally lost our hand, we're still able to do just a straight up melee attack, which is what we did. So we did the D10 plus 6, which was 14, plus we had the extra die, which is Sands of Time 7. So sweet, so 15 and 6. So that's cool. Drelm is such a powerhouse, and thanks to Sands of Time, we're able to defeat this creature. But he did wipe out our hand, and Skypharaoh's throne says rolling a d4, so the 4th card in this card pile, we have to bury this card that was in our hand. Okay, pretty exciting. A lot going on there, but we're on top of it. Yes, Drelm is doing great. We do have to reset our hand. And now what we're going to do is advance the Blessings deck. It's a Blessing of the Ancients and Explore. So we get the Armor of the Sands, Constitution, Fortitude 6, or Arcane Divine 8. Well, thanks to Drelm's Divine skill of D8 plus 6, this is almost an auto-acquire. And we roll the 4 plus 6 is 10, so we do acquire this card. Let's see. Drelm's hand has like 2 armors in it, so we are going to discard the card. And what we're going to do is, our cards really aren't that great in our hand, but we'll keep them. We're going to go ahead and advance the Blessings in the Blessings deck, and we're going to explore. Corridor Dart Trap. It's a trap, so that means that Drelm can use his Divine skill to defeat this. And it's a Dexterity Disable. Drelm has Disable of D8. The difficulty to defeat is increased by twice the scenario's adventure deck number. This is scenario 5, so that means that it's going to be plus 10. So we need a 16 to defeat this barrier. So between the Divine and the Disable, our total buffs are 11. Man, that's pretty amazing. Yet because the divine is wisdom plus 6, and the disable is wisdom plus 5. So we have 11, and wow, so we readily defeat the corridor dart trap. That's just because Drelm is a powerhouse. What can I say? He's been doing pretty well. Very well. Advancing the Blessings deck, it's a Blessing of the Lady of Graves. We will explore. Javelin of Lightning. Unfortunately, Javelin of Lightning is a dexterity ranged 10, and Drelm only has a dexterity of d6. This is going to go down as an auto fail. Not even going to try to acquire that card. Let's go ahead and we'll just move this down a little so you can see a little more of the Sands of Time effect. Let's go ahead and advance the Blessings deck. Blessing of Wadjet, exploring. We get a Caryatid Column, so it's a Construct Elite. It's not a mummy. Combat 10, immune to attack, mental, and poison traits. Okay, so we really don't have anything. We have this card, the Corrosion spell. Discard this card to add 1 die to any check to defeat a barrier. Discard this card to add 1 die to any check against a monster that has a construct or undead trait. Okay, well, there's a construct right there. And it does not have the attack trait. So we'll go ahead and use the Corrosion spell. And we are going to go ahead and just do a straight up melee check, which is d10. And we're adding a die, so I guess it's just another d10. So we're going to basically roll 2d10. Our melee is plus 6. So I think the odds are pretty good that we will defeat. If the check to defeat does not have the bludgeoning trait, so actually we have to add plus 2 to this check. But still, we are adding plus 6 to our check here. We're going to go ahead just to be on the safe side. So it's immune to the poison trait, so we can't use the embalming fluid. So we can't use the embalming fluid. I was thinking maybe we can. Alright, so rolling 2d10, and we get to add 6 to this roll. So 4, 5. Oh, you know what? I forgot. Sands of Time. This is a construct, so we can technically add an extra die. So 4, 5. Our buffs were 6, so we had an 11. If we roll just one more die, that's going to be an auto defeat then, even if we had it at a 1. So 4, 5, 6, and the 6 is 12. So we just made it. Oh, Drelm's really been rolling low here. But that Bane is banished. We're going to roll to see if we can recharge our Corrosion spell. So we rolled a 5 plus 6 is 11. We needed a Divine 9. Okay, we recharged that card. Very cool. Alright, things are moving right along thanks to Sands of Time. I like how Drelm has basically mastered time. Advancing the Blessings deck, it's a Blessing of Osiris, and we get the Monstrous Physique spell. It's level 5, and Drelm really wants this spell, but unfortunately it's a check to acquire. Intelligence Arcane 13, and Drelm's intelligence is only a d6. So, it's interesting. We have a Stained Glass Elemental in our hand, so we could technically add plus 6 to this roll, so we could get a 6 and another d6, but that still won't be enough for us to acquire Monstrous Physique. So it's with great sadness that we aren't able to acquire that spell. I guess it was just in a tome, and Drelm was trying to read it, couldn't do it. Advancing the Blessings deck, Blessed of Isis, exploring, and here she is, the villain of the scenario. Queen Neferoset, Undead Mummy, Oracle Cold are the traits. So that means that plus 4 to defeat. So we have to do a Combat 31 or a Divine 24. So she's immune to fire, mental, and poison traits. All damage she does is cold. If undefeated, okay, well, we'll get to that later. If defeated, okay, we'll get to that later. After the encounter, alright, we'll get to that later. So, looking at Drelm's hand, it's not really that great. All we have is the embalming fluid. So, we can add 2 in the poison trait. If the Bane has the undead trait, which she does, we can ignore her immunities. So we're going to go ahead and add plus 2 to this roll. But, wow. Unfortunately, Drelm has absolutely nothing. He's got the Sands of Time going for him up here. So we can add 1 die to checks by characters at this location to defeat Banes. That's pretty cool. So basically Drelm has it's a straight up melee check. So he's going to have 2d10. He's going to be able to add +6 to this roll and 7, 8. So he's going to be able to add 8 to the roll thanks to the embalming fluid. But that's it. So let's see what happens here. He's got the stained glass elemental in his hand, so that's what's going to save him if he rolls high. Yep, that's all we got. Let's see what we get here. So we rolled a 10. Well, you're not going to believe that, finally. He rolled high, but is it enough? He rolled a 20. His buffs with the embalming fluid were a total of +8. So 28, he needed a 31, but we can recharge stained glass elemental to add 1 plus the scenario's adventure deck number to the result of the check. So let's go ahead and do that. So we're adding 6 to this roll. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 20 is 34. We needed a 31. Boom. She is defeated. It says here, if undefeated. Well, we defeated her. If defeated, draw a random spell that has the divine trait from the box. Okay, well that's pretty neat. And random spell is divine. Speak with the dead. We get it back. And after the encounter, bury all weapons and armors played during the encounter. Well, we didn't play any weapons because we hadn't, and we didn't have any, and we didn't use any armors. We do have to roll for the embalming fluid to see if we have to bury a card. It's a craft. It's a disable 7. Drelm's disable is wisdom +5, so 5, 6, 7. We don't bury a card from the embalming fluid, but we defeat the Queen Neferusotu. Alright, and that's pretty much it. Alright, awesome. Well, so let's go ahead and we'll do a deck check. So that was the final adventure for level 5. Drelm only has to go to the Sky Pharaoh's throne one more time, and then he is all done. Let's go ahead and do a deck check. The way I've been doing the deck checks lately is that here's this is Drelm's deck. But let's go ahead and look at what's the reward for the scenario. So the reward is we actually get the Life Lantern loot, and we also get a power feat. So let's go ahead and zoom in on some power feat action here for Drelm. Okay, Drelm is he is a Vault Keeper. So what's interesting is we haven't used this power at all. When you defeat, we haven't been using his powers pretty much. So this one, because we don't have a lot of cards that have the Abdar or Divine trait, we really haven't needed that. When you defeat a card that has a lock or trap trait, we can examine cards. We haven't done that. We could have done that this turn or this scenario. Let's see, is there any other thing we want to do? On your check against a card that has the obstacle or trap or lock trait, you may use your divine skill. Do we want to max this out? Do we want to give him a hand size of 6? You know what? Let's see. I think what we're going to do, so our choices are either the hand size of 6, or we can go ahead and, let me see, hand size of 6, or we're going to do the lock trait. I think, you know what, we're going into level 6, we're going to need some extra bonuses here. Let's go ahead and increase Drelm's hand size for his, we'll increase his hand size for the power feat. And now let's go ahead and look at the deck check here. For the deck check, let's go ahead and look at items that just, so the Drelm can now trade in the Life Lantern. For your combat check, reveal this card and recharge a card that has Divine trait. To use your Divine skill plus 3d6. If the Bane has the Poison or Undead trait, add another 1d6. It's a cool item. So basically, here's Drelm's deck. Let's zoom out a little bit so you can see a little more. So these are all of his cards. We're only looking for cards. So he's level 5, right? So if a loot is level 4 or higher, he can trade it. He's pretty much happy with what he's got. This is his deck. He's probably going to lose that card. So he's got a lot of cool things. But you know what? He's really not happy with this Commander Abdallah. She's really not doing anything. So the question is do we want to trade? Look at these level 5. So we got the Dune of Doom, the Axe of the Imperative, the Shadow Touch Shotel, the Golden Serpent Armband, and the Life Lantern. So the question is we can trade the Life Lantern for sure, but are we going to trade it for the Golden Serpent Armband? I guess what we can do, we got these 2 new loot items. So let's go ahead and go to an item trader and see. We kind of wanted to get rid of her. She's not really doing anything for us. But we're going to go to the trader. We actually are. We're going to go ahead and visit our old pal, Falsine Deke. We're going to see what kind of items he has to trade for us. So see if he's got an item that's going to be just as good as the Golden Serpent Armband, or if we're just going to keep the Golden Serpent Armband for the start of the next scenario. So randomly looking at these items, we're looking at Falsine Deke has items of level 4 or 5 for us. So we're only looking for items of level 4 or 5, and since we are the amazing Drelm, we can go ahead and shake him down for 1 extra item. Level 4 or 5, where are you? Okay, alright. So we can either get the Jet of Anubis, the Sunrod, or the Evocation Staff. Well, let's go ahead and zoom in on those a little. Okay, so this one, Evocation Staff, you know what? We don't want it. Because for your combat check, reveal this card and discard a spell to use your arcane skill. Well, Drelm's arcane skill is D4. So we tell Falsine Deke we don't want that. The Sunrod, we don't have any items that have the alchemical trait, so that's pretty much useless to us. But the Jet of Anubis, on your charisma check, or your check that invokes the poison trait, recharge this card to add 1 die, or to remove any 1 die. You may reveal a blessing that has the Anubis trait. To reveal this card instead, on your combat check, recharge this card to add 1d4 and the poison trait. Well, unfortunately, with the right combos, that might be pretty cool. But as it is, we're going to tell Falsine Deke we're going to go ahead and keep our Golden Serpent Armband. Unfortunately, we are going to have to probably toss the Life Lantern because we're not going to be able to make a... Let's see, if we keep the Life Lantern, we're going to have to lose another one of our items. So Falsine Deke, goodbye. If we keep the Life Lantern, we have to either get rid of the bird feather tokens, or we'd have to get rid of the embalming fluid. And of course, both of those are the only items that Drelm currently has. So Drelm doesn't really want to lose any of these 2 items. He could technically lose the bird feather tokens. It's a level 3 item, just though we have a level 5 item. So, because that way at least we'll be able to make some better trades for next scenario. But this is the last time that we're able to trade in the level 4 loot, because we're going to be on level 6 next adventure. So we're in a bit of a quandary. We need some cool things to go to the trader with. So the question is are we going to... Well, yeah, the question is whether we're just keeping the Life Lantern, and I'm kind of leaning towards keeping it and tossing the bird feather tokens, even though they've helped us out, the bird feather tokens. So, I'll let you know what I decided at the start of the next adventure. The next adventure is going to be scenario 6.1. We're starting the final level of this campaign, so pretty exciting. Well, thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this scenario. It was a lot of fun playing it, and I will have another adventure up shortly. All right.